Hello, people. I'm Jade, and this story is about my horrible in-laws. Now, my story is a little different than everyone. I'm sure you have seen mother-in-laws obsessing over their sons. Well, wait, what? Why don't they like you? This is ridiculous. My mom always wanted daughters. She hated me when I was born. I guess that's why she always preferred my sister Penny over me. I was also made to compromise and got punished for the mistakes she made. My mother-in-law, Shelley, absolutely hated my husband, Saint. I had no idea that a mother could hate her child so much. Before we got engaged, my then boyfriend, Saint, told me a lot of things. He said, "I know you want to meet my family, Jade, but my mom and sister don't really like me. I don't want you to be mistreated just because you are my girlfriend." That is horrible. Why the hell would a mother play favorites like that? You have to be kidding me. Is this why you don't have a good connection with them? Yes, Jade. My dad tries to be there for me, but mom and sis always find a way to mess up my life. Dad is the best, but the rest are not so much. I try my best to keep some contact, but I don't know how long I'll manage. Saint wasn't kidding when he said that his mother hated him. This woman was a freaking monster. His sister Penny was just as bad. The first meeting with them made it very clear to me. They criticized Saint and called him names the entire time. They didn't even say much to me and ignored me the entire time. His father, Neil, was the only sane person who actually was welcoming towards us. Before we left, he took us aside and said, "I'm so sorry about my wife and daughter's behavior, Jade. They have always hated Saint for no reason. My son is a great man and doesn't deserve those insults. Don't worry, Neil. I know just how amazing Saint is, Neil. I'm sorry he doesn't have a better mom and sister." What can I do, Jade? I have to accept how they are and try to navigate a relationship like this. I know they won't change, but I can't abandon them. Neither can Dad. I could see where they were coming from. Shelley and Penny were completely dependent on Neil for everything. Penny didn't work and had a son out of wedlock. The father is involved, but she has full custody. The father of her son also doesn't want anything to do with Penny due to her insanity. Penny lived off the child support payments that he gave and wasted her father's money on luxuries. It was ironic that Penny made fun of me and Saint for living like middle-class people. Perhaps it was because Shelley had a similar way of life? Anyway, it was quite clear to me that Shelley and Penny would not be close to us. I refused to be in contact with them much. However, Saint still tried to have a relationship. He was a very affectionate man and always wanted to see good in people, but nothing had prepared him or me for what was to come. It started when I and Saint announced our engagement and tentative wedding date. We went over to the in-laws and told them everything. Neil was super happy for us and literally had tears in his eyes, but Penny and Shelley were not at all happy to hear our announcement. In fact, they looked pissed at us. They said, "How could you even think about having a wedding when I'm still single? I'm older than you and should be the first one to marry." That is ridiculous, Penny. Getting married is not a competition. You can get married when you finally meet someone. It's not a good reason for me to wait for you. You are the one being ridiculous. My daughter should be the first one to marry. I don't know who gave you the permission to get married before her. We are not children, Shelley. We don't need anyone's permission to get married. Who marries first is not a big deal. When Penny finds her soulmate, she will get her chance too. Jade is right, Shelley. I have no idea why you and Penny are making such a big deal about this. They're not required to sacrifice their wedding because Penny refuses to date realistically. How can you say such things about your own daughter, Neil? You should support our daughter, Penny, when she's so upset. You're just taking Saint's side and internally mocking Penny. You are a horrible father. Suddenly, Shelley and Neil started to argue about the issue. Penny was simply crying and playing the woe is me card from time to time. Since the attention shifted from me and Saint, we decided to leave them be and go home. Neil would handle the situation. We were positive about it, and if he didn't, we would always try to talk some sense into Shelley and Penny. We didn't hear from Shelley and Penny for a week, so me and my fiancé thought that they were finally over the stupid wedding competition. Oh boy, we were wrong. One day when I was at home after work, Shelley and Penny decided to visit me. They knew that Saint was out of town on business and wanted to catch me alone. I let them in, thinking that we could have a sane discussion about the wedding. I said, "Hey guys, what's up? We haven't heard from you for over a week now. You missed Saint. He's on a business trip to Seattle." "We are not here to meet with Saint. We are here to talk to you. I don't care where my useless son is right now." "Well, what are you here to talk about? I'm not sure I can be of any help to you two." "We are obviously here to talk about your wedding, you dumb woman. Why else would we visit you in your horrible home?" "We have tried to talk to Neil and Saint about canceling your wedding. It looks like they have no interest in listening to us, so we've come to talk some sense into you. You need to think of your sister-in-law and cancel your wedding." I couldn't believe their freaking audacity. I was naive enough to think that they were here to make peace, but no. Penny and Shelley were here to corner me and get me to cancel the wedding. I don't know in what universe they think I would have agreed to that. These women just kept getting crazier and crazier. But I wasn't the one to be pushed back. I said, "And that would be a hard no from me. Whether this wedding will happen or not is completely up to me and Saint. You have presented your points to us and we don't agree to it. So no, Shelley, we won't cancel our wedding." "How can you be so selfish? Wait, I know. You and Saint know that I will have a big wedding. You want to get married before me so that you can steal the limelight and have no one to compare your wedding to mine. You are just a jealous witch like my brother." My God, Penny, you are one crazy woman. If one wedding bothers you so much, maybe you should consider getting some help. This is not normal. "How dare you say something is wrong with my daughter? Penny isn't wrong to feel how she feels. She's right about your intentions. You are a selfish woman. You should know how much weddings mean to a bride. My stupid son can wait for a little longer to get married." Your daughter is almost 30, Shelley. If she still hasn't found someone, we are not sticking around to find out how long it'll take. With her ridiculous standards, she would be lucky if anyone married her. Oh, please, you are just jealous of me, Jade. I'm a beautiful woman and anyone would want to be with me. It's not my fault that I know my worth and will only marry a rich guy. I'm not cheap like you and Saint. Well, I don't care, Penny. What I do care about is my own wedding. The wedding won't be cancelled for some brat who doesn't even love her own brother. We will ask you one more time, Jade. Take a month to think about it. If you go through with the wedding, there will be consequences. Let me just make that clear. Shelley said that and left with Penny. Their threat was hanging in the air even after they left. I was freaking mad about how they talked about Saint and his feelings didn't matter at all. While Saint has gotten used to this behavior from his mom, I knew the wedding issue was plaguing his mind. So I decided not to tell him about the threats. I didn't want to depress him any further. It was bad enough with Saint slowly realizing that there is no way we can have a good relationship with Shelley and Penny. A month passed, and I didn't even bother reaching out to Shelley. She did call and try to harass me. I saw the horrible texts she sent and kept records of all the threats she made, but I didn't show them to anyone. I was already busy planning the wedding and had a lot on my mind. I didn't need more drama. Instead, I simply informed Neil about the situation and let him deal with it. He was able to keep a tight leash on his wife and daughter so that they don't do anything stupid. Neil's efforts were only fruitful till the day of my wedding. All the preparations were done with great care, and I was proud of how everything turned out. Saint was very busy with work, so he couldn't help as much. Plus, the issue with his family was also on his mind a lot, so I didn't bother him with wedding troubles. I was trying my best to be supportive of Saint while he figured out what to do about Shelley and Penny. I said, "Look, Saint, I know you wanted a decent relationship with your mom and sister, but I don't think they are even a little bit interested in that. I mean, you have seen how they reacted to your wedding." "I know, Jade. Trust me. I'm starting to doubt my decision as well. I tried very hard to establish a relationship with them. I don't think I can do that anymore. I can't believe how they dismissed my wedding like nothing." "Shelley and Penny are not worth our precious time, Saint. I think you should consider cutting them off after the wedding. Hell, I would be happier if they were uninvited from the wedding altogether." "I can't uninvite them, Jade. They're still my family. Maybe they don't care about me, but I do care about them. Even if it's only a little bit. To be honest, I'm worried they'll try and do something stupid, but I'm sure Dad will handle it. After the wedding is done, we don't have to be in contact with Mom and Penny anymore." Even after everything, Saint was still trying very hard to not have any hard feelings towards them. I could understand his side, actually. For years, he had tried to gain their affection. It's difficult for him to pull away suddenly. I did make a mental note after convincing him to get therapy after the wedding. I also wished that by some grace of God, Shelley and Penny end up not coming to the wedding. I knew it was a fruitless prayer. I couldn't stop them from coming. But all I could do was keep my eyes peeled and stop them from sabotaging the wedding. At our rehearsal dinner, everyone was in a great mood. It was the first wedding of Saint's family in years, so all of his extended family showed up. They were very excited about us getting married, unlike Shelley and Penny. My dear mother-in-law did try to tell everyone about how unfair it is that Saint is getting married first, and he didn't even consider Penny's feelings on the matter. Well, no one agreed with her, of course. In fact, Shelley's mom and Neil scolded her for being so negative about her own son's wedding. Shelley and Penny sulked for the rest of the evening while everyone ignored them. On the day of the wedding, I was very anxious for some reason. Shelley's threats were playing in my mind on a loop. My maid of honor and bridesmaids tried their best to calm me down, but I was still very anxious and starting to look like a mad woman. So they suggested that we take a tour of the venue to make sure everything was all right. It was before I got my makeup done, and while Saint still hadn't arrived at the venue, when I was taking a look at everything, I and my bridesmaid found Shelley and Penny in the kitchen. They were standing near our wedding cake and laughing. In their hand was a spray bottle of peanut oil. I was absolutely horrified to see what they were doing. They said, "There you go. Mom, I've sprayed a thin coating of peanut oil on the cake. It doesn't even look visible. One bite of this and Saint will go straight to emergency. Even if he has an EpiPen nearby, his wedding will be ruined." I can't believe we had to go this far for this stupid wedding. Saint is such a bad son for making me do this. If he and his stupid fiancé had only listened to us and canceled the wedding, we wouldn't have done this. Whatever happens today will be a result of his own doing. Mom, you are worrying too much about Saint. Do you know how upset I am already? People just won't stop talking about him and Jade. I don't want to listen to you babble about them as well. If the peanuts kill him or something, he'll deserve to die for being such a weakling. Sorry for being insensitive, Penny. I'm being too charitable with Saint. I should be more mad at him. And you're right, Saint and Jade brought this upon themselves. Maybe this will teach them to respect us more. Shelley and Penny started to laugh about what they did and even made fun of us. I was absolutely shocked to hear how nonchalantly they tried to poison my wedding cake. They knew that Saint was deathly allergic to peanuts. We had to be extremely cautious about not having any nuts around him. His mom and sister tried to use his allergies to spoil his wedding. Their jealousy knew no bounds. They didn't even care if Saint died from it. Me and my bridesmaids were appalled by what we saw. We didn't confront them right then. We were more busy trying to reach Saint and the groomsmen. I didn't want Saint anywhere near the kitchen because it had been contaminated. I also had to call the venue staff and catering to come clean the room before someone accidentally cross-contaminated all the rooms. By then, the guests had already arrived and even Saint was waiting outside in the parking lot. I was so anxious about stopping Saint that I completely forgot about the wedding cake. While I was telling Saint what happened, I heard a loud shriek from the kitchen. Everyone ran to see what was going on. Turns out Penny's son ate a huge chunk of the cake. The child is a very big spoiled brat, so I wasn't surprised to see him rudely eating my own wedding cake before anyone else. But the problem is that the child is allergic to nuts as well. Penny and Shelley screamed in horror. They said, "Quick, someone help my son. His throat is swelling. He's having an allergic reaction. Someone needs to call 911 right now. Please do it fast." "Oh my God, my grandson. Someone help him. Neil, do something." "Penny, you need to get away from your son. You still have peanut oil close. It might make things worse. Here, I have an EpiPen. Use this till the ambulance arrives." When the ambulance arrived, Penny left with her son and was accompanied by a relative. However, I didn't let Shelley leave with her. I let Penny go at the moment because her child was in danger. However, I wasn't going to let Shelley go that easily. I said, "Where do you think you're going, Shelley? Wouldn't you like to tell everyone how this accident happened today?" "What is going on? How did my grandson have an allergic reaction to the cake? It was made to be free from nuts. Saint is allergic to nuts, so they were strict about these things." "I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea why their wedding cake had nuts in it. Maybe Jade and Saint are trying to intentionally poison Penny's child." "We tried to poison your grandson, or did you try to poison Saint?" "You are one awful woman, Shelley. Even after everything, you won't accept your faults. Everyone, my dear mother-in-law and sister-in-law, actually tried to poison our wedding cake with peanut oil. I saw it with my own eyes, and so did my bridesmaids." "Mom, is that true? Do you really hate me that much? Does my life mean so little to you?" "Tell us the truth, Shelley. I'm one step away from going nuclear on you." "Oh, these are lies. I didn't do anything like that. Why would I do that to my own son?" "Because you wanted to destroy our wedding. You wanted Penny to marry first and even pressured us continuously to cancel the wedding. Don't try to lie about the poisoning. The security cameras in the kitchen have recorded everything. I can prove your guilt, Shelley." At this point, Shelley knew that she had no way to cover her crime. Yes, I'm calling it a crime because it is, and I already called the police to come and arrest her. Meanwhile, everyone around us went super mad at Shelley. There was a lot of shouting and yelling. In the end, everyone was berating Shelley horribly. Saint said, "For years I've tried to make myself worthy of your love. I've slaved to make you and Penny happy. But today, I can see that I was making a mistake. You two don't even care if I live or die. I have had enough. Me and Jade won't be in contact with you anymore." "How dare you blame us for everything? You and Jade should have listened to us when we told you to cancel the wedding. It's your fault that my grandchild is in the hospital." "Enough, Shelley. You have the audacity to turn this on Saint and Jade? You are the one who should bear the responsibility along with Penny. I can't believe I spent so many years with such a vile woman. Today you showed exactly who you are. You better go home and pack your bags. After today, I won't be married to you anymore." "There is no need for her to leave, Neil. I've already called the police, and from the sirens, I can tell that they have arrived. You won't get away with this, Shelley. I and Saint will press charges against you for poisoning our cake." Shelley started to freak out and beg us to forgive her. No one paid heed to her tears and pleading. The police came, took our statements, and arrested Shelley. The venue authorities were called and they supplied the cops with video evidence. Shelley was taken away crying for mercy. Me and Saint still got married that day. Everyone encouraged us to go through with the wedding, and even Neil told us to continue. We all had a good time once we heard that Penny's son is stable now. The police were also planning to arrest Penny once the child was better. It looks like she would be losing custody of the kids and the child support payments as well. Meanwhile, Neil has talked to a lawyer about divorce and is preparing all the necessary papers. Shelley is rotting in jail and waiting for Penny to join her or someone to come bail her out.